critical issue is that we do not put our students or our staff in danger.
When these trucks hit something, people die.
Oklahoma City was bad for about 30 miles on the west side, but the worst part has been Arkansas.
How are the roads? I know they're terrible.
Roads are terrible. Don't get out driving.
Now, from Arkansas's News and Information Center, this is THV 11 News at 6.
Thousands of students waiting to hear if they get another snow day, but it all depends on one thing. It's what you're looking at, roads.
This is our live road cam traveling the streets of Little Rock right now. We will continue to follow it for updates over the next hour. Thank you for watching. I'm Dawn Scott.
And I'm Craig O'Neill. All of the latest school closings are on our website, TCB11.com. Many of those districts we've spoken with say they're waiting it out a little bit longer before making a final decision.
Well, that's right. It brings us to our continued team coverage tonight, and we have THV 11 crews following road conditions, school closings, and the winter weather that's still ahead of us.
All right, let's start with Dan Grossman, who has watched families chip and shovel their way out of their neighborhoods today. Dan.
Yeah, well, Craig and Dawn, that chipping and shoveling got a little bit easier. As you know, the sun was out today, so it caused a lot of that ice to turn into more of a slushy, watery mix. And we're standing on some right now. I got some in my hand, and it was a lot easier to form, but right now it's starting to turn crunchy. And many residents around these parts in the Height worried it's going to cause a whole lot of problems that they woke up to this morning.
It really warms it up.
Throughout most of Little Rock, the sounds of thawing could be heard Tuesday.
With the sun being out today, as you can see, the streets are melting a lot better.
I say most because
Can't stand the cold.
not everybody is in the same boat.
This morning, our driveway was completely covered with ice. Something to do to pass the time.
Tamara Perry
We're kind of stuck.
is one of the many still iced in on Little Rock's lesser traveled streets.
It would be very helpful if we had at least one truck to come by during a storm.
She lives in the Heights and says her road seldom sees salt, like many of the other streets in neighboring Hammock Village in West Little Rock.
We've had 16 trucks prepared this year.
But the Public Works Department says it's doing everything it can to get to every street.
It's sort of a moving target. When something gets cleared enough, we'll have them immediately move off and start working on the smaller streets.
The city has 9 big road routes that its trucks travel, like Markham and Colonel Glenn. Once those roads get enough lanes moving, the trucks can break off into smaller sections, which it hasn't had much of a chance to do yet.
We help people understand that we're doing everything we can as quickly as we can, but there are some areas of the city that we just can't get to as rapidly as maybe some people want.
Areas like Tamara's, who hopes tomorrow brings more traction.
We have some patches of concrete that we can actually walk on.
And now the city spent about $650,000 this year on 4 new trucks and then also 8 new sleds. So all 16 trucks that they've been having going around the city have been able to use these sleds to shovel out some of the ice and some of the slush. Tomorrow's weather should be a little bit better, so a lot of people hoping for a full thaw come tomorrow. Craig and Dawn.
Dan Grossman, thank you. The neighborhood streets and roads are exactly what school administrators are watching tonight and into the morning.
TCB 11's Astra Solozano took a ride with a man responsible for the safety of 16,000 students to find out what goes into his snow day decision. Astra?
I did, Craig and Dawn. Now, there's a lot of factors that come into play for Superintendent Jerry Guess, and he actually manages 36 different schools in the county. Now, there have been about a dozen different people who have been going around 3 times a day monitoring the roads, and they will be checking within the next 12 hours the changes in temperatures.
I see we've got more problems here than we would have had otherwise.
Superintendent Jerry Guess says when it comes to the safety of his students, he has 730 square miles to check.
If conditions are serious enough tonight, we'll make that call.
He says it's just about looking at all the factors, especially at night.
You determine whether it's going to refreeze. You look at the isolated spots where the snow and ice have not melted because of the shade.
Teacher Alan Crook from Fuller Middle School says some roads are clear, but some of the streets are still unsafe.
All of these turns are going to be treacherous because the sun doesn't hit them right and they're not traveled a lot out here in the county.
This gentleman coming down this hill lost control and wound up going into the ditch. And you can see in front of him is a car that had already done the same thing. This hill is dangerous.
He says these are situations he wants to evade, which is why his team checks every road.
We either open it completely or shut it down. We don't open just parts of the district.
We went to some of the... Now, we still don't know if the schools will be open tomorrow, but Superintendent Dr. Jerry Guest says that they will have, if they don't know by tonight, they will have crews out as early as 3 in the morning to let parents know by 5 in the morning. Don, Craig, we'll send it back to you.
Kids are watching. Thank you, Astrid. Again, any school closings that come into our newsroom, they're going to be on our website, THV11.com, and at the bottom of your screen during the newscast. You
can also check out our THV11 mobile and iPad app for that same list.
All right, Ed Buckner, Chief Meteorologist, we've had enough. We're ready to move on.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Spring, how about that?
Yeah, right. Too bad. This is going to be a busy week. Matter of fact, later this evening, we could see another round of some wintry kind of weather. Take a look at what's going on right now. We've got a little disturbance, we talked about it last night, swinging into North Arkansas. The northern rows of counties will see some snow with this. We will see some very light rain. Now, that's a problem. If the temperature gets below 32, that's going to cause a pretty good glaze of ice on roadways after midnight. Again, a lot in question. Temperatures have to be below 32, and of course, there has to be a lot of moisture, but right now it's very limited. 35 degrees in Little Rock. It's something to watch, though. 37 in Clinton. Most of these locations are above freezing. And temperatures won't fall nearly as much tonight, and they'll be slow to fall, so that's our good news. Maybe this will just be a little bit of light rain later on and out of here. Clearing skies tomorrow with a high of only 40. So yeah, more sunshine to help the thaw continue. We'll talk more about a complicated weather week ahead coming up.
And it was almost 1 year ago that winter weather stranded drivers for up to 18 hours on Interstate 40 in the eastern part of our state.
In the same area today, a mess. THV11's Phil Buck joins us with the latest on an 18-wheeler issue on I-40, several of them actually, and why drivers say something needs to be done. Phil.
Well, Craig and Don, you're right about that. Interstate 40 has a reputation for getting jammed up between Little Rock and Memphis, especially during these ice events. And part of that is because of all the commercial truck traffic that uses this stretch of road. I caught up with some of those truck drivers today who got stranded in this morning's traffic backup to get their reaction.
I had to stop. The roads were too slick, and they got the interstate closed now, so I'd have probably had to have turned around anyway.
Truck driver Mark Loomis missed his scheduled delivery in the Memphis area because Tuesday morning, a jackknife trailer turned Interstate 40 into a parking lot.
Well, it's terrible. We're on a time clock when we operate. You know, we got to be someplace, and we're not able to get there now.
Jerry Fabiunki was also running late because of the traffic jam. Do you notice a difference between Arkansas and some of these other states?
Oh, yeah. The other states are right on top of it. They're used to it. I mean, you guys should be by now.
I want to get out of Arkansas.
Bog McMinn was on his way home to North Carolina from the Grand Canyon and said things were going swell until he got to Arkansas.
Oklahoma City was bad for about 30 miles on the west side, but the worst part has been Arkansas, the worst condition on the roads. Tractor trailers jackknife, cars on the side of the road, tractor trailers upside down. We spun out.
Now, things on this stretch of Interstate 40 have improved drastically since this morning. In fact, there's only a small section of slowdown that's being shown on iDrive Arkansas to our east out near Brinkley. Other than that, traffic is moving pretty well. I also spoke with Danny Stracely with the Arkansas Highway and Transportation Department. He tells me that all of the road crews that were working the south and southwest parts of the state yesterday and last night have all been reallocated to central Arkansas and eastern Arkansas, in particular this stretch of Interstate 40 here, and he says they will continue working around the clock in 12-hour shifts until the roads are clear. Craig and Don.
All right, Phil, thank you. Earlier, we showed you our live road cam and told you how we'd be getting live reports tonight. So let's get our first one right now. THV11's Kevin Traeger monitoring the road conditions.
Kevin, what are you seeing?
Hey, Craig, Don, we're over on Brookside Drive, and I'm with photojournalist Matt Bryant. Say hi, Matt.
Hello.
All right, and now, see, what we're looking at is this part of the street got sun today, and there's no ice, but look, you get to the top of the road, and it is completely covered in ice, much harder to drive on, and we're literally on the same exact street. You can see top of the hill is covered with trees, and no sun got here today, and now we're driving on a sheet of ice. This is a situation that we've seen a lot out here off Markham Street. And the Little Rock City crews are going to be out all night tonight, 12-hour shifts, working on some of these smaller roads in these neighborhoods. Now, the Little Rock Police Department told us there have been 54 accidents as a result of this winter weather event. A lot of them and on these smaller streets that we just passed over there. We're going to have more from other parts of West Little Rock. Take a look. We got another street there. But we'll send it back to you guys, Craig and Dawn.
All right, Kevin Traeger, thank you. And into the THV 11 newsroom right now. Little Rock Police investigating a deadly shooting tonight. There is little information right now, but here is what we do know. Police say one victim is dead, possibly 3 more are hurt, but their conditions are unknown. The shooting happened at the 7900 block on Scott Hamilton Road. We do have a crew on the way. We will provide more details on THV11.com and also tonight at 10. And the ice isn't slowing some Arkansans down. That's because they can't let anything get in the way of their jobs.
Some of the older adults we serve are vulnerable, and we needed to be there.
Coming up, a look at the workers who braved dangerous road conditions so they could help others. You're watching THV 11 News at 6.
Thanks for watching THV 11.